What happens when the quiet comfort of a solitary life is disrupted by an unexpected act of kindness? Clara's world is about to change in ways she never imagined. But will it lead to the companionship she's longed for, or something even more surprising? Be sure to give the video a thumbs up, share your insights in the comments, and subscribe to keep up with our newest narratives. On that Tuesday morning, the sky wore a cloak of gray, and a gentle drizzle fell, creating an atmosphere that beckoned one to linger in bed, cradling a warm cup of tea and lost in the pages of a captivating book. At 52, I found myself residing in a quaint little house on Maplewood Lane, a street where familiarity lingered in the air, yet true connections remained elusive, if that makes sense. We waved, exchanged pleasantries, and occasionally borrowed a cup of sugar. But that was the extent of our interactions. Life unfolded in a predictable rhythm, wrapped in comfort. Yet if I were to speak candidly, it carried a hint of loneliness. On that particular morning, I found myself seated at my kitchen table, gazing out at the rain-drenched garden beyond the window. The hydrangeas unfurled their blue petals, weighed down by droplets of water, while the oak tree in the backyard danced softly in the whispering breeze. Engrossed in contemplation, I cradled my chamomile tea, the warmth seeping into my hands, when a sudden knock at the door broke the silence. I found myself taken aback, as I had not anticipated the arrival of anyone. Matthew, my son, was engrossed in his own pursuits in the city, while my friends found themselves occupied with their families or careers. After a brief pause, I placed my cup aside and made my way to the door. To my astonishment, when I opened the door, there stood my neighbor, Mr. Thompson. He stood tall, a figure in his late 60s, adorned with silver hair and eyes that radiated kindness. He lived just 2 doors down, and over the years we had exchanged a few words here and there, but nothing beyond that. In his hands he cradled a small wrapped package, his demeanor tinged with an unusual nervousness. "Good morning, Clara," he greeted, his voice imbued with warmth yet tinged with uncertainty. "I trust one am not intruding upon your time." "Absolutely not," I responded, a smile gracing my lips. "How may I assist you today, Mr. Thompson?" "Please call me Charles," he said, a smile returning to his face. "I couldn't help but observe that you've been spending quite a bit of time in your garden recently. Your talent for nurturing plants is truly impressive." A soft chuckle escaped my lips. "Indeed, it occupies my time quite effectively. It brings me a sense of tranquility." He inclined his head slightly, then extended the package toward her. "During my visit to the farmer's market this past weekend, you crossed my mind. It's a small gesture, merely a token to add a touch of light to your day." I found myself utterly astonished. It had been years since anyone had bestowed upon me a gift of such significance. I grasped the package, sensing its weight in my hands. "Thank you, Charles. Your kindness is truly appreciated." He shuffled his feet, an air of shyness enveloping him. "Very well. I shall allow you to return to your morning activities. Wishing you a wonderful day, Clara." I echoed the sentiment, my gaze following him as he turned and made his way back down the path to the sidewalk. With a gentle click, I shut the door behind me and carefully peeled away the layers of the package. Within lay a stunning ceramic planter, adorned with intricate flowers and graceful vines. It was precisely the sort of thing I would have chosen for myself. I glided my fingers across the sleek surface, experiencing a peculiar blend of emotions: gratitude, curiosity, and an elusive sensation that remained just out of reach. As the afternoon waned, I resolved to nestle a delicate fern into the planter, positioning it gracefully upon my porch. While I toiled, my gaze drifted down the street, drawn to Charles's house. It dawned on me that my knowledge of him was quite limited. All I truly knew was that he was a widower and had resided on Maplewood Lane for as long as I had. The following day, I prepared a delightful batch of oatmeal cookies, following my grandmother's cherished recipe, and made my way to Charles's house. Upon opening the door, his expression revealed a blend of surprise and delight. I extended the plate of cookies and expressed my gratitude for the lovely planter. The gift was truly a reflection of deep consideration. He smiled, the corners of his eyes crinkling with warmth. "Your gesture was unnecessary, yet I am truly grateful for it. Would you care to join me for a cup of coffee?" After a brief pause, I gave a nod of agreement. I would appreciate that. The house exuded warmth and charm, its walls adorned with bookshelves and a cozy fireplace gracing the living room. At his kitchen table we savored our coffee, engaging in a delightful conversation that meandered through topics like gardening, travel, and our cherished books. It astonished me just how effortlessly our conversation flowed, and the ease I experienced in his company was truly remarkable. As I strolled home that evening, it dawned on me just how deeply I had longed for this kind of connection. It was more than merely the present or the sweet treats. It was in the manner Charles had chosen to observe me, to recognize me as more than merely the woman residing 2 doors down. That night, as I reclined in bed, I reflected on the surprising generosity of my neighbor, and how it had moved me in an unforeseen manner. Though it was a modest act, it had unlocked a gateway to a realm of possibilities, revealing a void I hadn't known existed. The days that ensued after Charles's unforeseen gift carried an air of distinction, as if the universe had subtly realigned, unveiling hues I had previously overlooked. The rain subsided and the sun emerged, draping Maplewood Lane in a warm golden light. The garden appeared to awaken to the transformation, with flowers radiating vibrant hues and leaves donning a richer shade of green. Perhaps it was merely my perspective, perceiving the world through a fresh lens. Charles occupied my thoughts with increasing frequency. The exchange we shared over coffee flowed effortlessly, a seamless dance of words and thoughts. The conversation extended beyond mere subjects we explored. It was in the manner of his listening, a deep engagement that suggested every word I uttered held significance. It wasn't until that moment, when it stood before me, that I truly understood the depth of my longing for such a connection. A few days later, as I tended to the roses in the garden, the sound of footsteps on the sidewalk caught my attention. As I glanced upward, I spotted Charles approaching, his hands tucked into his pockets and a smile gracing his lips. "Good morning, Clara," he said, pausing at the boundary of my yard. "The beauty of those roses is truly breathtaking. Your talent is truly remarkable." I cleaned my hands on my apron and returned the smile. "My gratitude, Charles. They are the essence of my happiness. Would you care to step inside for a more intimate examination?" He nodded, and I guided him through the gate, highlighting the various shades, the rich reds, the gentle pinks, the velvety whites. He absorbed every word, posing inquiries and marveling at the blossoms. After a pause, he remarked, "I've always dreamed of cultivating a garden like this, yet I've never possessed the patience for it." Her dedication was truly admirable. "It's easier than it appears," I responded. "All it requires is patience and a touch of affection." He let out a soft chuckle. "Perhaps you could impart some wisdom to me." After a brief pause, I replied, "I would be delighted to. How about you swing by tomorrow morning so we can kick things off?" His eyes sparkled with excitement. "I would appreciate that. Thank you, Clara." The following morning, Charles made his entrance precisely on schedule, clad in a worn pair of jeans and a cozy flannel shirt. I presented him with a pair of gardening gloves and guided him through the process of preparing the soil for planting. We toiled together, exchanging words and laughter as we unearthed, sowed and nurtured the soil. To my astonishment, it was quite enjoyable, and I discovered that I relished his company far more than I had anticipated. As the days morphed into weeks, our gardening sessions evolved into a cherished routine. In the quiet of the mornings we would gather, sometimes at my place, other times at his, immersed in the tasks that awaited our attention. It transcended the mere presence of plants. It was about the dialogues we shared, the fleeting moments that lingered, and the deepening bond that blossomed between us. One afternoon, after we had completed the task of planting a row of tulips in his backyard, Charles proposed that we take a break and relax on the porch. He presented a pitcher of iced tea, and we settled into the shade, savoring our drinks while observing the birds dance about the yard. "You know," he remarked after a pause, "I've resided on this street for more than 2 decades, and I've never truly acquainted myself with my neighbors. It seems I've always found myself on the outskirts of companionship." I nodded, fully grasping the essence of his words. "I understand your perspective. One can easily become ensnared in the confines of their own existence, overlooking the presence of those who dwell just beside them." He regarded me, his expression contemplative. "It brings me joy to see you settled in, Clara. This space has been transformed into a home once more." His words resonated within me, stirring an emotion that tightened in my throat. "My gratitude, Charles. That holds significant value." We lingered in a quietude, the sort of serene stillness that requires no embellishment of speech. The sun caressed my face with its warmth, while a gentle breeze whispered through the air. And in that moment, I experienced a profound sense of tranquility that had eluded me for far too long. As the weeks unfolded, Charles and I found ourselves drawing nearer to one another. We began to exchange more than mere gardening advice. We exchanged tales of our journeys, our kin, our aspirations. I discovered that he had once been a teacher before his retirement, that he cherished jazz music, and that he held a fondness for classic films. He shared with me the story of his late wife, Margaret, and the profound emptiness her absence left in his life. As we sat on my porch, the sun dipping below the horizon, he spoke softly. "She was the love of my life. Never did I imagine I would encounter someone capable of evoking such feelings within me once more." I gazed at him, my heart heavy with the sorrow woven into his words. "I comprehend. Experiencing the loss of a cherished one is profoundly challenging." He nodded, his gaze wandering far away. "Yet I believe she would find joy in witnessing me in this light, sharing moments with someone who brings a smile to my face." His words lingered in my mind long after he had departed that evening. As I reclined in bed, my gaze fixed upon the ceiling, my thoughts drifted to Charles and the surprising bond we had forged. It was an unforeseen twist, an unexpected turn of events. Yet it had woven itself into the very fabric of my existence. As I surrendered to the embrace of slumber, a curious thought lingered in my mind. Where would this journey lead us next? Life certainly has a knack for putting us to the test, wouldn't you agree? Just when you believe you've established your balance, an unexpected force arrives to disrupt the calm. For Charles and me it was a tempest, a formidable one. The calendar had turned to late September, yet the air carried an unexpected warmth, defying the seasonal norms. The trees began to don their autumn attire, draping the neighborhood in a tapestry of gold and crimson hues. Charles and I found ourselves increasingly entwined in each other's lives, not only tending to the garden but also enjoying meals together, indulging in films, and embarking on day trips to charming nearby towns. It seemed as though we were crafting something extraordinary, something genuine. Yet the tempest approached with a fierce determination. It began with a faint echo of thunder, a shadowy band of clouds stretching across the skyline. As dusk settled in, the wind began to howl, and the rain poured relentlessly, drenching everything in its path. As I gazed out from my living room window, the trees danced in the wind while the rain relentlessly hammered against the glass. The power flickered once, twice, and then succumbed to the abyss, enveloping the house in an impenetrable darkness. I searched for a flashlight, finally finding it. and lit a few candles, attempting to create a semblance of comfort in the darkness. Yet, as the tempest held outside, an unsettling sensation clung to my heart, refusing to let go. At that moment it reached my ears. A thunderous crash echoed, succeeded by the sharp sound of wood fracturing. My heart soared into my throat. I snatched my raincoat and flashlight, dashing into the tempest, the wind tousling my hair while the rain drenched me within moments. I traced the sound to Charles's abode, where the origin of the clamor revealed itself to me. A colossal oak tree in his backyard had been struck by lightning, toppling and crashing through a section of his roof. My stomach plummeted. "Charles," I called out, hurrying to his front door. I struck it with fervor, my heart pounding in my chest. "Charles, are you all right?" The door creaked open, revealing him, visibly shaken yet miraculously unscathed. "Clara," he said, his voice strained with concern. "I'm doing well, but the tree has intruded through the roof." I entered, illuminating the surroundings with my flashlight's beam. The extent of the damage exceeded my expectations. The tree had burst through the corner of the living room, scattering debris in every direction. The rain cascaded through the gaping hole in the roof, drenching the carpet and saturating the furniture with its relentless downpour. "We have to get you out of here," I urged, clutching his arm tightly. "Safety is compromised." He paused, surveying the chaos that surrounded him. "However, my home." "Text. I can help you repair your home," I interjected. "However, you cannot remain here this evening. Come on, you must join me at my place." He remained silent. I assisted him in collecting a handful of necessities, a few articles of clothing, his medications, a cherished photo of Margaret, and together we rushed back to my home, navigating the relentless downpour. As we crossed the threshold, I offered him a towel along with a fresh set of clothes, dry and inviting. "Change your clothes," I instructed. "I shall prepare a pot of tea." When he finally descended the stairs, I had a pot of chamomile tea brewing on the stove, and the fire was softly crackling in the fireplace. He sank into the couch, a picture of exhaustion and overwhelm. "Thank you, Clara," he murmured softly. "Your arrival has left me pondering the depths of what might have been without you." I offered him a steaming mug of tea and settled into the seat beside him. No need for gratitude. That is the essence of friendship. We lingered in quietude for a time, attuned to the tempest raging beyond the walls and the gentle crackle of the flames within. Though the power remained elusive, the candles illuminated the space with a gentle dancing glow, imbuing the room with a sense of warmth and comfort amidst the turmoil beyond the walls. After a pause, Charles remarked, "This brings to mind a night I shared with Margaret amidst the hurricane. In our youth, freshly united in marriage, we found ourselves with little to our names. Yet, in the end we had one another, and that sufficed." A smile crept across my face, accompanied by a tightening sensation in my throat. "She appears to be an extraordinary woman." She existed. He spoke, his voice gentle. He echoed her essence in countless ways. His words took me by surprise, and I could feel a warm flush spreading across my cheeks. "Charles," he extended his hand toward mine, his grip enveloping me with warmth and assurance. "Clara, I understand this may not be the most opportune moment, yet I feel compelled to express it. The time we've shared over these past few months has held a significance that transcends mere words. Your presence has rekindled a spark in my existence, and I am determined to hold on to it." As I gazed into his eyes, I perceived the depth of sincerity and the raw vulnerability that resided within them. My heart raced, yet for the first time in ages, it wasn't driven by fear or doubt, it emerged from hope. "Charles," I murmured gently, "you have illuminated my life as well." It was only when you arrived that I truly understood the depth of my need for someone like you. He smiled, a gentle, radiant smile that filled my heart with warmth. Perhaps we can unravel this mystery side by side. I nodded, a tranquil calm enveloping me, in unison. Outside, the storm unleashed its fury. Yet within these walls, it was as if the sun had graced us with its warmth. We lingered in that moment, fingers intertwined, our voices weaving through the stillness of the night, until the rain ceased its gentle patter and the first hints of dawn began to filter through the windows. The morning following the tempest arrived with clarity and brilliance, a day that inspires faith in new beginnings. The scent of moist soil and decaying foliage filled the air, while the sunlight filtering through my windows seemed to whisper of hope. Charles and I lingered at the kitchen table, savoring our coffee and spreading jam on warm toast, the echoes of the previous night still vivid in our thoughts. "I ought to reach out to the insurance company," Charles remarked, shattering the tranquil quiet, "and perhaps contact a contractor to assess the damage." I inclined my head, extending my hand across the table to grasp his gently. "We shall unravel this, progressing steadily, one step at a time." He smiled, his eyes radiating warmth and appreciation. "Your presence in my life is irreplaceable, Clara. There's no need to discover that," I said, returning the smile. In the days that followed, we collaborated to restore Charles's house to its former state. An insurance adjuster arrived to evaluate the damage, while a contractor commenced the necessary repairs on the roof. The effort was considerable, yet there was a profound satisfaction in engaging in something concrete, an endeavor that deepened our bond even further. As the day drew to a close, after hours spent clearing away remnants of chaos and sifting through the remnants of what once was, Charles and I found ourselves on my porch, gazing at the sunset that painted the sky above Maplewood Lane. The sky erupted in a symphony of colors, with pinks, oranges and purples intertwining in a breathtaking display. "Tex, do you recall what Charles remarked, shattering the stillness? Your words from the other night have lingered in my mind, particularly the idea of navigating this journey side by side." I glanced at him, my heart racing as he inhaled deeply, his face a blend of seriousness and hope. "I refuse to squander any more of my time, Clara. Life is fleeting, and I have already devoted too much of it to solitude. I long to be by your side should you choose to have me." Tears gathered in my eyes and I quickly blinked them back, determined not to let a single moment slip away from me. "Charles, I share your sentiments. For what feels like an eternity, I have walked this path of solitude, unaware of the profound emptiness it held. It wasn't until you graced my existence that I truly understood the depth of my longing for companionship." He extended his hand toward mine, his grasp enveloping me with warmth and assurance. "Let us proceed with this endeavor. Let us craft a life side by side in whatever form it may take." I nodded, enveloped by a profound sense of peace and happiness that had eluded me for years. In unison, the ensuing weeks unfolded as a tempest of feelings and choices. Charles's house had been mended, yet he found himself increasingly at my place, to the point where it seemed as though we were already sharing a life together. We engaged in a conversation about what lies ahead, envisioning the intertwining of our lives, dreaming of adventures, and contemplating the beauty of aging side by side. The experience was a whirlwind of excitement, terror and wonder, all intertwined in a single moment. On a brisk October morning we chose to stroll through the neighborhood, savoring the vibrant fall hues and the invigorating fresh air. As we walked side by side, a profound sense of fulfillment washed over me, as if I had at last discovered my true home in this vast world. "You know," Charles remarked as we strolled by a stunning maple tree, its leaves ablaze in fiery red, "I believe Margaret would have liked you." My gaze fell upon him, a wave of astonishment washing over me. "Is that so?" He nodded, his gaze gentle with reminiscence. "She often remarked that I required a companion who could challenge me, someone possessing both a gentle heart and an indomitable spirit. Indeed, that is you, Clara. Tears welled up in my eyes once more, yet this time I made no effort to brush them aside. I appreciate it, Charles. Your understanding of its significance surpasses what words can convey. He halted his steps and pivoted to meet my gaze, enveloping both of my hands within his own. Clara, while we may not be in our youth, I believe there are many wonderful years still to come, and I wish to share each and every one of them with you. I smiled despite the tears streaming down my face, experiencing a joy so deep it bordered on pain. I desire that as well, Charles, more than anything else in the world. He leaned in and kissed me then, a gentle, tender kiss that felt like a promise. In that moment, enveloped by the beauty of the season and the warmth of his love, I understood that this was merely the beginning of something exquisite. As we strolled onward, the sun casting its warm glow upon us and the leaves crackling underfoot, a profound sense of gratitude washed over me for Charles, for the life we were crafting side by side, and for the unforeseen kindness that had led us to this very moment. Life had presented us with unexpected challenges, yet we navigated through the turmoil and emerged more resilient than before. As I gazed into the horizon of what was to come, I felt a profound certainty that no matter the trials that awaited us, we would confront them side by side. For it is often in the unlikeliest moments that the most exquisite treasures of life reveal themselves.